in a your sight, in a your sight. In a God's eye, me want live right. Walk where you want me to walk. Talk where you want me to talk.
So I want us to just look briefly of the effects it has. All these things that we would have talked about previously, I would have mentioned previously, how it plays out in the adult child. And so the human body is made up of body, soul, and spirit. So we're looking at the body. So bruises, cuts, scars. Some adults, and they look on their body, they have scars, bruises from things that they would have gotten as a result of the child. They probably would have gotten a pot spoon, a bucket fling at them, a wet towel on across your back. A wet towel is a real thing. So they, as an adult, they have these little, bruises on the skin as a result of an experience that they would have had.
Right.
And I want to jump across to emotions and thoughts. It affects, if it is the child has a negative experience as a baby, from a baby, and the home is dysfunctional, the parents just not on the child, they're just uninvolved. The parent is strict and harsh and do as I say and not as I do and militant. It affects the child's relationship when they get older. So when they get into an intimate relationship, they don't know how to relate to the person. They have challenges relating, I would say. They have challenges committing. They have challenges sharing their feelings, their emotions. They have challenges loving the person. Not that they don't love the person. They just don't know how to express that love. They don't know how to show that love because that was not demonstrated to them in the home.
Yeah.
Their self-esteem affected. Sometimes when you look at children, you look at teenagers, you look at adults, and the self-esteem low, they feel as though they can't do this, they can't do that. When it is you talk with them, it's something stem from the past. Somebody would have said something to them, you're real stupid. You're just like your father, you're just like your mother. Why you can't be like your bigger brother and sister?
Oh, yeah.
They did it so good in school. What is going on with you? Like the doctor drop you on your head. So as parents, and sometimes we say things not understanding
The impact.
They reach, yeah.
Yes, that it has on the child's self-esteem and how they see themselves. Look at trust. You have some challenges trusting people because you always feel as though people would treat you the same way as though your parents treat you. And so in relationships, you have the relationship and you have the dynamics played out in not only men, but you have it in women as well. And so because they are unable to trust, they don't stay long in relationships. And so they move on and they move on and they move on. And again, when it is you check back, you realize it stemmed from their background. When it is you look at social skills, and so social skills as a parent, you teach your child social skills. You teach your child how to problem solve. If 1 and 1 is 2, and the child don't know that 1 and 1 is 2, okay, let's just dissect it. And let's see how it is, what strategies we could put in place to help you to solve 1 and 1 plus 1 is 2. And when it is you teach your child problem solving skills, it grows with them because then now when it is they encounter their situations, they have the opportunity to apply what it is you would have taught them. How to navigate friends, how to make friends. Some of us as adults, we don't even know how to make friends. So we're in a space and we just there. We don't even know how to go and say, hi, how are you? And interact. And sometimes these things take time because sometimes we could look at our personality and say, I'm an introvert. And, as an introvert, you keep to yourself. But the possibility exists, we just don't have any social skills. We weren't taught social skills. We weren't taught coping skills. How to cope with loss. How to cope with grief. how to cope with somebody not wanting to be a friend, how to cope with a relationship ending. And so that affects the socialization and the friendships, because we're just really not a cool friend and we're just a loner. And you would hear some men saying that I'm a loner, I don't like friends.
Yeah.
Right? Let us look at even high or low achiever. And so again, and remember when we looked at the parenting styles, let's look at even the authoritarian, where there is a high expectation. And if the child doesn't live up to that expectation, you're getting licks. You're getting level licks. And so you need to come home in my house. Nothing less than an A. Nothing. But the child may not, mentally, the child may not be performing at an A average.
Right.
The child may be a B or C.
Mm-hmm.
But no, come on with that A. And so it affects whether the child is a high achiever or a low achiever. And I put in learning disability there because I recognize in the formative years, if it is the child is not mentally stimulated in the home, the child can develop a learning disability, and not a learning disability like dyslexia or ADHD, not like that, but where it comes to learning. And so you have some children, they just ain't getting it. So the child is an infant and there is no homework, the child is not on a schedule, let's do some reading, let's do, to help develop the child. And when these things are left unchecked, the child can finish primary school into secondary school and they're really not doing well.
Yeah.
Right? And last but not least, when we look at the spirit part, how this dynamic played out in terms of the spiritual values. So you have a home where there is no spiritual values or belief system, like how it is when we looked at the neglectful parenting style or the permissive parenting style, or even the authoritative, no, we're going to church. And you have to go to church. And so the child is like in a straight jacket. And the child is not understanding what is being taught in church. The child is not understanding what is being taught in Bible study. The child is not being taught spiritual things. And sometimes when it is you have a militant parent with regard to spiritual things, when the child gets older, they deviate. They deviate because it's like, oh gosh, I just too churched out. I just don't want to hear. And it is as a result. Let me don't say as is. It can be, most likely be, as a result of the values, whether there are spiritual values and whether there aren't, and how it is the parent react and the parent response to this. And so parenting, like I would have mentioned, Mateela and Candace-Joy, is a very rewarding experience.
Yeah.
As well as it could be a very chaotic experience for a parent.
Yeah.
And some parents could say, I just never had these type of challenges that you're talking about. But another parent could be like, what? You crazy? I have so much challenges, and raising a boy is different than a girl.
Yeah.
Because long time we socializing, and again, it's how we socialize the children. So long time we socializing, the girl come inside, you're playing with the teacup and the saucer, you're learning to cook as a child, and the boy is outside kicking ball, they're outside bareback, they're playing with guns, and they're running. And when they get older, and we want them now to play the father role, to play the husband role, they have challenges doing that.
Yeah.
But they weren't taught. They weren't taught. So let me hear your thoughts, Mateela, Candace-Joy.
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. I have been writing.
And I don't know if the online community, the online listeners would have any questions for us to, to answer, to talk through.
This is what my thing looks like.
You're right, plenty.
Yeah, I have a lot. first thing I would say, Candace, I'll go before you.
Okay, sure.
The first comment I want to make is that you raise a point that as an adult child, you brought something to the fore of my mind, and that is that parents in themselves have a lot of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
When you would have spoken about stress and work and all these things. And as an adult, I know that stresses from different areas affect how I react and how I respond to people. But
Yeah.
never for a minute have I, as a child, thought about when my mother or my father would respond to me in a particular way that is not favorable. That it is not because they have an issue with me, not necessarily because they have an issue with me or they want to be wicked to me, but because they may be dealing with stress and circumstances that I am not aware of
Yeah.
that is affecting how they relate with me at that time. So just as
Yeah.
I have those challenges with interacting with, because there are times when I have a particular kind of day and I get home and I don't really want anybody to talk to me. And then when
Yeah.
you talk to me, I give you an agitated response. My mother will be able to attest to that, right? But it's the same thing for a parent. So now as an adult, I know even now I still live with my parents. So I have to be mindful now that, parents may do and say things as a result of externalities that I am not. So I
Yes.
have to
Yes.
give them some slack and allow
Yeah.
them that space as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question.
So
You were given we're talking about the different styles of parenting. Um, and I wanted to zone in really on the authoritative and the permissive, right?
right.
Because most of us, people who would be my age, would have probably grown up under the authoritative slash authoritarian style of parenting as opposed to permissive. I could be wrong, but I think nowadays you have parents trying to be more friendly with their children
Yeah.
than days gone.
Yeah.
And I think there's merit in being friendly with your children because it opens doors and gives them avenues to be open, to be honest, and to come to you for help and assistance as opposed to go elsewhere.
Right.
And be a healthy balance between the authoritative style of parenting and the permissive style of parenting. So I guess that's the question. But I guess what I'm really asking is, do you see a place for the permissive style of parenting in the parent-child relationship?
Right. Once the line is not blurred. So you have any permissive, the line is blurred. And so situations happen and the parent, the mother, father doesn't know how to parent, how to pull back. And so the child is just bolted out.
Yeah.
And so you can have a spoiled child. How do you correct a spoiled child as a permissive parent when there is hardly any rules?
Right.
And so there is allowance and there is no punishment, so to speak, because again, the punishment don't have to be me beating you,
Yeah.
right? So yes, you see in some families, it worked for some families, but it really doesn't work for all families. And I also believe that as a parent, you need to not have the lines blurred, because at the end of the day, you still need to be a parent to your child and not the child be a parent to you
Yeah.
or be a friend more than your parent.
Yeah.
And the authoritative style parenting, in that type of arrangement, the child, because remember there are clear rules, the child is valued, the child self-esteem is high, the child does well in school, because in that space the child can go to the parent, mommy, daddy, I disagree, and there is dialogue. So even if the child does something that they ought not to do, there is still dialogue and the appropriate punishment is given, compared to the child does something wrong in the permissive, oh, all right, okay, Sarah. Remember, the child's still growing. They're still looking to you for guidance. They're
Yeah.
still looking for you for help. So if it is, we even look at friends, teenage friends. Teenage friends can help friends.
Correct.
They can't give the type of advice that you would need as a
Yeah.
child. So you still need to go to the adult,
Mm-hmm.
who is the parent, to get the help that they need.
Understood. I have a second question there. As you raised the issue of beating, right? So this is more about discipline. You would have mentioned and you would have touched on the fact that generally, I think without any discredit to parents, you're parenting for the first time, even though you have 4 children, and your parenting style may be one stop parenting. You parent and you parent all your children the same way. But you would have mentioned the fact that as individuals, children are very different. And with respect to discipline, and particularly beating, sparing the rod, not beating, whatever, sparing the rod, beating. Would you say that depending on the parenting style, a child would perceive licks in a particular way? So if you have a neglectful style of parenting and then you beat that child's interpretation of that lick may be different from a child who gets licks from a parent who uses the authoritative style, so that their perception of licks would be different. So I guess parents need to understand, 1, their parenting style, and 2, the individuality of the children, and recognize that discipline may need to have a different face depending on the child that they're dealing with.
Yeah. And the offense that would have been committed. Offense might be a strong word, but the wrong that would have been committed. So let's just say, for example, if the child goes into the fridge and takes some condensed milk, you're not going to beat the child badly because they went into the fridge to take some condensed milk. Some talking, some dialogue. You ought not to do that. If it is you have to go in the fridge, you need to ask me. Right. And next time you do that, we're going to have to put some, some consequences. But certainly, it is not going to warrant beating with a broomstick with a belt buckle.
Yeah.
Right. So it has to match. So let's and just to go back to what it is you say. So in the neglectful parent in style, and so they beat their child, which let's just say the child, for all you know, the child might feel happy that I'm being punished, because remember, in that style, the parent is uninvolved. And so the mere fact that I'm getting licks, it is because the parent's attention is toward me.
Wow.
And so just maybe my parent love me.
Wow.
So then that's into that whole realm of somebody now beginning to appreciate licks and discipline and that kind of treatment as signs of love.
And sometimes you have as well children just being disruptive in school, children just doing things to warrant attention. And they may be doing something, but when it is you dig deep, it's the parents' attention that they're looking for and that they need. And so they're willing to go to whatever lengths and willing to do what is necessary, even if it's something, even if it means breaking the law. Why? Because it gives, it brings the spotlight on me, and my parents' attention is toward me. So the punishment style is different with in the neglectful style compared to the authoritative, because in the authoritative, you can have a mix of both, because there is dialogue and the appropriate consequence would be given out. Because in a neglectful parent, if you steal the neighbor mango, all right, you steal the neighbor mango. All right. You try to steal it. Okay. All right. So the parent operates like they just couldn't be bothered with the child. They just don't care.
Yeah.
Again, that's a message that you're sending out. And what type of message are you sending? So as parents, we have to be careful. We have to be mindful, mindful of the messages that we send towards our children. What message are we saying? Are we communicating love? Are we communicating patience? Are we communicating that, I care for you, I'm here for you, I'm there to support you? Or are we communicating, not today?
Yeah.
Not today. And every day is not today. Are we communicating that this new partner in our life is more important than you? Are we communicating that your younger brother or sister, older brother or sister is more important than you? What are we communicating? That I have finances to fund activities for family members, but when it comes to you, I no money, you only asking me for money, I no money for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Candace, do you have any? On to you.
Yeah. I want to ride Mateela's first point,
Sure.
because the first thing that stood out to me in your presentation is that we as children honestly forget that our parents are also human beings,
Yeah.
that they also have feelings, that they also go through crisis, that they also go through hard seasons. So I
Yeah.
think sometimes we as children are so involved in ourselves, consumed in ourselves and our problems, that we don't think twice about, okay, probably mommy's having a hard time, probably daddy's having a hard time. That is why I got that response, or that is why I didn't get a response. So I think it's really good, especially for those of us who are Mateela's and my age,
Yeah.
where we have the ability to understand
Yeah.
human beings' wants and needs. We need to remember that my mother, my father are also human beings. So that was a really good point that you brought up there. Um, and also I realized,
And I just want to add to what it is you were saying, Candace, right? And nothing is wrong as a parent. You know, you're going through a little situation, mommy not all that today. Daddy not all that today. You're not going in depth in what is going on with you because it's still not the child's business. But you still let the child know that, I love you, I am here for you. I just need a little time for myself. I
Yeah.
just going through a little season, a little period, and I want you to understand, and I hope that you understand.
yeah, yeah. Also that parent based on how they were parented.
Yeah.
As you said in your opening statement, we don't come with a handy book saying, this is how you have
Woman.
to mind this joy, this is how you have to mind Mateela. Like, that doesn't count. And the reality is that Mateela and I will parent based on the way we were parented. Um, so Mateela will realize she does stuff the way her mom will do it, and I will do stuff the way I saw my mom do it. But we have the ability to change certain things or change certain styles because we can identify with the impact negatively some things would have had on us. So I think that's a key thing to
Yeah.
note that for us who
Yeah.
are yet to be parents, that yes, we have been parented a particular way, but we have the opportunity. Of course, it's not going to be easy
Mm-hmm.
to really change how you grew up, but I think it would be good for us to be mindful that we have the power to change certain things when we do
Yeah.
become mommies or daddies.
Yeah. And you see it sometimes, because you have, as adults, depending on the home, I don't want to be like my mom. I wouldn't raise my child, my children the way that I saw my parents raised me. And so you have some persons doing the opposite.
Mm.
But then we have, and that's what we see more,
Mm-hmm.
that style.
Right. And I have a question, Kurleen. So you went to the effects that parent-child relationship has. So how does a child, well, a mature person like me, or even older, or even younger than me, who can identify with, okay, this has had an effect on me, but there's a trust issue or my self-esteem, etc. How would you advise us now to try to reconcile or move forward or go beyond that issue? Do you recommend that we have a conversation with the parents, or we go for counseling, we do some introspection? So now that we can identify the effect it has had on us, what now?
Right. So once we have come into self-awareness, we can talk with the parent.
Okay.
Now, there are some persons who wouldn't go to the parent and say, the things that you did really affected me. But
Mm-hmm.
what is needful is that once that awareness takes place, you work on self.
Right.
And so if it means going to therapy, if it means reading self-help books, if it means listening to different things, positive things that would help change the mindset. on how it is you see yourself. And sometimes if it is, let's just say you go to the parent and the parent can be like, oh, boss, sweetie pie, I really didn't know. I didn't know in the moment this is what was happening, and and apologize, but I really didn't know this is what would have happened, and I didn't mean it. And so that you could see the relationship between parent and child could get a little closer, the bond deepen, because the child now understands what would have taken place.
Yeah.
But it's important once we come into self-awareness, and we don't want to be like everybody else, in terms of, you want your child to come out healthy. Because let's look at, if it is we have to change society, we got to change the home.
Right.
And so it starts with us.
Yeah.
So our parents are parents, so they're getting the information. They would do the introspection for themselves, so they could see where they went wrong and where their parents went wrong. And so even as grandparents, they could try to as best to instill certain values in their grandchild. And so you have that partnership taking place there to change the family structure, to change how we raise men and how it is we raise women. So when they get old and they get into relationships, they too can produce healthy, well-balanced children. And even if the child deviates, they come together and they do what is best for the child.
Do you think that a parent-child relationship can be too far gone, like hopeless? Like if somebody is like 40, 45 and they have parental issues, the parents are still alive, but sometimes people say that, that too is like it's too late now, it's embedded in them, that sometimes we say, but do you think that a relationship could be too far gone and there's just no hope? Or do you think that there's always hope for a parental relationship to come together and to heal and to mend? Also, what if somebody who's listening to us and their mother and their father is already deceased, but they still have resentment or anger or trust issues because of mom and because of dad, and they don't have that opportunity to sit and have a conversation? What will you advise those persons to do?
Yeah. All right. So the first one, I believe, once there is life, there is an opportunity.
Okay.
Right? Once there is a will, there is a way. And sometimes because we are hurt as an adult, it's just to work up the courage. And depending on what the hurt was, there could be anger, resentment, unforgiveness. And again, work up the courage to go to what the parents and just talk with them. If the parents, if they're not willing to do that, are coming back to work on self, seek therapy, work on yourself, because you would be a parent. And if it is you're not a parent, you're influencing somebody else. And you're influencing somebody else by your words and the things that you will tell them concerning relationships. Right? And if as an adult, your parent is no longer, but is no longer alive, but and you have all these pain and hurt, I would say, if it is you have a close family member or friend who you could talk to find out, talk with them to find out. If that is you don't have that, work on self.
Right.
No, try to understand as well that your parents would have raised you the way that they would have been raised, what it is they would have seen modeled before them. And because they probably had unhealthy negative patterns modeled to them, they just did what it is they knew. And sadly, it would have been to the child's detriment. And they become an adult. And so it's for us to think about it, because sometimes you hear adults would say, especially when you're dealing with corporate punishment, my parents beat me. My parents beat me real bad, and look, I'm still alive. So what's wrong with beating my child? But then you have some persons who say, my parents really beat me, and it affected me.
Yeah.
But always remember, as a parent, you are that influence to your child. And as an adult, if it is you have adult children, it's needful with this new information to go to talk with them,
Yeah.
to find out and have that dialogue. I would have done some things, I would have said some things. Did you think I was a good parent to you? And make some amends. So you
Yeah.
may not be able to mend, so to speak, because your parent has died, but you could still make amends with your children who you have now. And if it is you're going to have children in the future, you will have a guide on what to do, and you work on yourself.
Right.
Work on yourself. That's important. That's the only way it could be stopped. Because if it is as an adult, we don't work on ourselves, we just transfer.
Right.
Right. What we already know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we jump in to take some questions from the community, right? There's one thing I want to raise. Candace has already the question. I was going to ask the same thing. Whether, because I know some people, before I ask my question, who are my age and they lament about things, my age and older, and they lament about things that would have happened when they were 7 years old, 5 years old. And they
Yeah.
would say things like me, I don't want nothing to do with my father. My father is just my sperm donor, or my father, whatever, whatever, whatever. Right? And the question I had preset from way when was to ask, can somebody, a child, really come back from that kind of experience? And I took note of the fact that you said earlier, in your experience, your 12 plus years experience, that most children will forgive and will move on once they have that conversation and they get the sense of a child, this is why this happened. Daddy had this, mommy had this, and this is why it happened. So I wanted to just highlight that for the parents that would be parents of adult children, who you probably don't have the best contact with. It's good to just reach out, ask, as Kurleen was saying, have I been a good parent? Is there anything that I may have done or said that may have affected you in a particular way that is affecting you now still? And I think that would be a very, very good platform to start off, as well as the child being able to say, Mommy, Daddy, this is what has happened, and this is the experience that I have had. The last thing I want to highlight before we take the questions from the community, or Candace says or Kurleen says what they have to say again, is that you mentioned um, the context for this is the society we live in Trinidad and Tobago today, where we have a lot of youth that find themselves in criminal uh, circles, that find themselves in friend circles that are not to their benefit but to their detriment. And I mean, it's something that we already know, but I think the way it was highlighted by you, Kurleen, kind of really rang some bells in my mind. And it's when you were talking about the neglectful style of parenting, and the fact that when a child does not have a particular type of attention or does not get attention at all, that they gravitate to where they get
Yeah.
that attention. They gravitate to crowds and situations and circumstances where people give them what they have been longing for. And I think, as a matter of fact, I won't even say I know that a lot of the times this is how our young men in particular, and even our young women, get involved in either romantic relationships or communities, gang related stuff or whatever, because in that space, they get the kind of attention that they are longing for from their parents or from those that ought to have given them that kind of attention. So, I mean, parents, it is a alarm bell. It's, it is sounding the alarm off that. I mean, we really need to ensure that we give our children what they need, or
Yeah.
try, um, meet their needs in that regard.
But I just want to add something there, Mateela, as you spoke there. You have parents who would have done everything,
Yes.
but their child still find themselves being influenced by the negative groups.
Yeah.
And so the parent is like, where did I go wrong? What have I done? Because remember, in the teenage years is crucial time, a crucial year, a crucial period, a crucial season for the child. And they can be swayed.
Yeah,
in that way. Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Candace, anything else you want to comment on, Selena? No?
We can go into the question.
Yeah, see, Sharon, and we can take the community stuff now. While we're waiting, Kurleen, I just want to say this was so informative.
You're
Right.
welcome. You're
Um,
welcome.
I'm
You see,
not.
the parent-child relationship is so important, huh?
It's
It
it's
is
your
very,
foundation.
very important. Yeah.
It is your foundation.
Yeah.
That's how you twist it. The parent-child relationship was our parents' foundation, and then their foundation come across to be our foundation. So it really highlights, I mean, the relevance of having the knowledge and seeking out the knowledge, seeking out help. Because a
Yeah.
lot of times too, I want to believe parents may, as we say, they're parenting for the first time. And parents may be facing a situation that they have never faced before. And um, they don't know what to do,
Yeah. They
and
do.
sometimes they don't know where to go or where they go. And we have to be frank and be honest. Sometimes you may go to the church and they tell you to pray.
Mm-hmm.
And as you would have said, praying, yes, God is good and God could do anything. Praying is one thing, but our people perish for a lack of knowledge or a lack of wisdom. And we have the resources in yourself and others like you in the church and out of the church where they could give us, tools and tips to manage. So that being said, we have a question from Margaret Bishop, and she's saying, can she give some tips for parenting adult children as a single mother?
All right. So we say adult children. So adult children, they make their own decisions, and they, as a parent, they need the parent's guidance still, but guidance in terms of being patient, I would say. Now, sometimes as a young adult, you get into relationships, romantic relationships with persons, and as a parent, you realize that person is not for you because sometimes as a parent, you have a sixth sense, so you could tell if that person is good for their son or their daughter. And so as a parent, you be there, you give the guidance, and you talk. If it is the parent realizes with the adult children that the child is not listening, still be there. So that and provide that avenue and that space that when the child makes that mistake or keep that door open so that the child could still come home
Right.
and get advice. The child could still come home and talk and not close the door because you're not doing what it is I'm telling you to do. I tell you to leave that boy. I tell you don't go into that relationship. And you're not listening. So you know what? Do what it is you want to do. You adults, you feel this man, you feel this woman, you do what it is you want
That's
to
a
do.
very common statement parents say to their children. That's a very popular statement parents say to their children. You feel his
Yeah.
man, you feel his woman.
Hey, protein. Yeah, here and there.
So quick spin off though, because I'm an adult child, and as an adult child, I don't know if it's a Caribbean style of parenting or what, but as an adult child, particularly still living at home with your parents, sometimes your parents desire, we know they want the best for you. Sometimes your parents desire to continue to parent you could a lot of the times come across as very restrictive and very and counter to your adultness, your adulthood, your ability to be in a situation, regardless of what it is, career-wise, relationship-wise, be in a place where you are you are adulting for yourself, you are making decisions, you are trying to, your future, you're trying to figure out where you're going, you're making decisions, you charting your life. And it's not that you don't want the opinion of your parents, you don't want the guidance of your parents, but sometimes, put simply, sometimes as an adult child, your parents still try to parent you as a child.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They still think you're a child and you haven't grown up, even though you have grown up right before their eyes. And so
Yeah.
they still treat you, they still talk to you as though you're a child.
Yeah.
And they deal with you as you're an adult, and you know you're making your own decisions, yes. And
Yeah.
situations like that, I'm saying, still be there.
Yeah.
Because a child always comes home to the parent, and as long as the parent is alive, adults, I'm going to talk to my mother, I'm going to talk to my father. You still, even though you know, you still would say, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about. Let me just get your thoughts on it, even though you have already made up your mind.
Yeah.
Even though you know which direction you want to go.
That's very true.
As a parent for an adult child, be there.
Yeah.
They wouldn't always make the right decisions, but as best as possible, be there and let go. Let go. You have some, and you see it happening with mothers, not letting go of their sons. And, you know, the son is like a mother's boy. And as the son is a mother's boy, when it is he gets into relationship, it affects his personal relationship.
Yeah.
There is a time when as a parent, you know you would have done all that you could have done. And so you let them go so that when it is they become married, you know, there would be a good husband and there would be a good wife to the spouse.
Candace, next question.
Coming from Nakia, she's asking, how are you to deal with parents who can't seem to understand you as an adult?
I think for some parents, they would never be able to understand you as an adult, you know, because all they just see you as a child. All they just see you as my daughter. That is my son, my piece of son, my piece of daughter. And, you know, and so they just hold on. And so in situations like that, again, you just have to, as your parent, and we will do, you can't push them aside.
Right.
And so if it is you feel you reach the age and financially you have the means to move out, to get it, you know, so that they could break certain habits. Habits may not be a good word, but you know, just to break certain things, and you know, you're going out on your own and to be your own person.
Yeah. So we have another question. For first-time parents, coming from Kadeen, for first-time parents, how do you suggest that they decide on a parenting style, especially where both parents were brought up under different parenting styles?
Right. So as parents, you have to come together, and you have to come together and talk as to which is the best style to parent the child. So you have one child, and so you parent the child this particular way. And so you have another child, you parent the child a different way, because again, the two children are not the same. If it is you, and so when situations arise, you can decide together, this is what it is we are going to agree upon on how we are going to parent this style.
Yeah.
The authoritative, in my estimation, is the better style to parent compared to the authoritarian, because you see the long-term effects it have on the child, and the neglectful, you see the effects that it has on the child. And so even coming together in terms of punishments, coming together in terms of boundaries, coming together with what is deal breakers for the child, things where, you know, the child could get away with compared to what the child will not get away. So there has to be some type of communication. There has to be much communication and much dialogue, because you could have the two different styles. So the mother could be saying, no, you need to do some work. And the father was like, nah, you only harassing the child, leave her, so she's stressed.
Yeah.
It's affecting the child, because the child at the end of the day needs to do some work, but at the same time, there needs to be a balance. So there has to be that constant dialogue between the parents on how to parent the child, and the effective way to do that as well. It might take some pulling and tugging between parents. They will get upset because they will be coming from a place of what they know and what worked for them and what didn't work. But as you're parenting a child now, you come together. So there may be a little bit of both in the mix. So you had the caribou, and depending on the situation, we pull from this side, and from, we pull from here and we pull from there. So you come together. But again, you must talk. There must be dialogue. There must be communication between the parents, as well as, I want to even say, sometimes you have the personality clashes because I think that this style is better. I
Right.
think that my way is better. And
Right.
so the personality clashes happen, and conflict arise, and further conflict arise, and jeopardizes, and it will jeopardize, sorry, not jeopardizes, but it will jeopardize the relationship between the father and the mother. So they want to be mindful of that as well.
Right.
And
Right.
nothing is wrong in saying, all right, we would go this way.
Right.
We could go this way.
Yeah.
If it's on the board, you have all the years.
Yeah, I'm thinking as well that, depending on the particular situation that they treat him with at the point in time, that would be a good time to invite a third party opinion.
I can do that.
This is the situation we're facing. Daddy thinks this is the way it should go. Mommy thinks this is the way it should go. We have some difficulty in determining which style will be best for the child in this particular situation, and you reach out to get that assistance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm seeing another question. How do you deal with parents who have never dealt with their problems with their parents?
So then we have hurting parents, and
Right.
people hurt people.
Yeah.
And so because they have never really, as a parent, deal with their challenges with this new information, I would say to this person, you talk with your parent.
Mm.
You talk with them concerning the information that you would have learned, and have that dialogue with them, because the possibility exists that there would have been a transference of behavior,
Right.
as well as the child could see the hurt in the parent, because sometimes you have adults in the 70s who still going through something that would have happened in their past, who's still affected, and they're unable to live a fulfilled life. They're unable to forgive because of an issue that they would have kept inside, that would have happened 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50 years prior.
Wow.
So to this person that asked the question, as you get this information, talk with your parent.
Yeah.
Talk with them, go through. And the possibility exists that your grandparents may be alive, they may not be alive. And if it is they're alive, if it is as your parents don't want to go to their parent, you as the grandchild, you to the grandparents, and you talk and find out what was happening at the time. Find out, because things happen. And sometimes as a daughter, and I remember my grandmother, sometimes I used to say, like, Mommy, wait, don't ask, just do. So you never really get an understanding of what was taking place in their mind at the particular point in time, what it is they were facing and what it is they're experiencing. And it's only when we talk.
Yeah.
So as the grandchild, if it is your grandparents are still alive, you go to your grandparents and talk, of course, with the parents' permission, but you're letting your parent know the benefit of doing that. Because you know what, another thing too, Mateela and Candace-Joy, stress kills.
Yeah.
Brings on physical ailments, brings on hypertension, heart disease, because heart disease is still the #1 killer in the world.
Right.
And a lot of us, a lot of parents have a lot inside because of pain and hurt that would have been done to them by their parents or their grandparents, or an uncle or an aunt.
Yeah. So I mean, we're about to wrap up because of time. But before we do that, there's something. We have another question, so we'll take that first, right? But you just made a suggestion that I never thought about in my little years of being alive. That a child could go to the grandparent and then a grandchild could go to a grandparent and get a sense and an understanding of what the parent growing up situation would have been like. And if I cast my mind forward, I think that would put the grandchild in a position of understanding. So they will be able to adjust their interaction with their parents accordingly based on the information they would have received. And in doing so, it might assist the parent to open up and it will create that space for healing. So I
Yes,
think
yes.
that's really, really good point. So the next question we have, how do you deal with a parent that's forcing a lifestyle down your throat because they would have experienced certain things and are of the opinion that it's not the best, but are not allowing you to make the decision that is best for your own life?
All right. So the lifestyle, what type of lifestyle that the parent is forcing down your throat? Um, because they experience certain things. So sometimes you have parents wanting to live, wanting their child to live the way that they live. Times are different, right? And the things that facing teenagers, adults, young adults now is so much more magnified compared to before, because
Yeah.
everything is right in your face and everything is open in terms of social media.
Right.
And so the better thing to do is to not force, because if because you think somebody's forcing something down your throat, you will feel like you can't breathe.
Yeah.
And you would and you're fighting for life and you would want to get away.
Yeah.
And in wanting to get away, if it is a threat, you wouldn't want to come back to it.
Right.
So there has to be a better way of sharing the information. There has to be a better way of bringing your point across. But
Yeah.
again, a parent could be doing that because they could be feeling desperate. That's
Mhm.
all they know. And so I need to really get the information over to you. And sometimes it happens in Christianity, where you have the parent growing up in church and the child has not made a decision to accept Jesus Christ as the Lord and personal Savior just yet. And so they want to live life. And so they want to go out into the world. And so the parent now, in their effort to show the child their way, could go about it the wrong way. As well as the parent, because of their own experiences, trying to avoid their child from making the same mistakes,
Yeah.
could shove things on and not go about it and fight and fear, because fear makes us do different things and fear makes us respond in different ways. And so as a parent, if that is happening to you, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and try and talk again. And if the child, your adult child, your teenage child is moving away, no moving away and moving away from the church, moving away from the Lord, know that you would have done your best. Know
Yeah.
that you would have instilled the spiritual values into the child. And you pray, like I would have mentioned earlier, you go back to the creator.
Right.
Because sometimes when you force somebody, they move away from you.
Yeah.
They don't want to be around you because every time I come around you, I just uncomfortable. And I
Right.
love you, but I just uncomfortable. So the better thing to do is to stay away.
Right.
And as a parent, you don't want your child to stay away. You still want to have that level of influence over their life,
Mm-hmm.
even though they are an adult.
Yeah.
Back to the maker. Seek the maker's face. Ask the maker for strength. Ask the maker for intervention. And if the child does some things, still keep the door open.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because for me, I don't believe in closing the door on the child. So the child could get into relationship, they could do all sorts, but still keep that door open that they can come home
Mm-hmm.
and that they have a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
That they know that you're supporting, you're not agreeing with what it is they're doing or what it is they're saying, and so you let them know nicely, I disagree with that.
Right.
But as a parent, remember you're a parent till death.
Yes.
As a
Oh,
parent,
wow.
you still remain there for the
Right.
child. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my mother didn't agree with all the decisions that I would have made, but she was still there.
Mm-hmm.
She was still there. And that is important. That's very, very important.
All right. Ooh, another question. I think this will be the last question. Is it possible to not deal with these issues with your parents and start afresh with your own children, like a whole new script?
Most definitely. Most definitely. As a matter of fact, it is suggested. Because if it is, you realize that the way that your parent raised you wasn't the best, and you are experiencing the effects of it, and you have your children with this new information, most definitely, yeah.
Good
Because
stuff.
remember to know, if it is you don't invest, because a child is like an investment. You don't see the yields until some years later, but you
Right.
will see the yields and you will see the benefit of
Yeah.
pouring into, of supporting, of loving, of being there for the child.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so very much. Kurleen, I don't even know what to say in concluding about the information you would have shared. I mean, it was a lot, but it was digestible, easy to understand,
Thank you.
very, very relatable. So thank you very much for showing
You're
up.
welcome.
Very much for sharing. My concluding statement would be I want to feed off of what you were saying before with respect to parents shoving things down children's throats or whatever. I want to highlight to the community and remind myself as well that the institution of the family, particularly the parent to the child, on this earthly realm is a demonstration of God's relationship with us as his children, right? And um, God does not force salvation on us,
No.
right? He makes it available. He has given us access to all the tools and stuff that we need to know that salvation is the way to go. But God doesn't force anything on us. It is for us to make our decision, right? So that's my mission to what the advice you would have given to that child and to that parent, right? That being said, again, I don't even know what to say. I mean, for me, it was a lot. Comment is that can we have an encore because this was like fire, 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 and it really, really was. There was a lot of information and a lot of tidbits. So thank you again, Kurleen.
Thank
Candace,
you.
I like Mateela, like it's been a lot to digest, but swallow it. And I know I'll put it into practice even now as a child and in future as a parent. You said something at the end that really, really struck me. I wouldn't say struck me, yes, it really stuck with me. You said you are a parent until death, and that is,
Yeah.
and you can give
Yeah.
up, you walk away. That is your duty, and you stay there. And I really want to encourage parents because now I have a different perspective when it comes to like parenting. And I really want to encourage parents that sometimes our parents may feel that their best isn't good enough because we as children can sometimes make some harsh comments as well. Yes, parents can make some things that affect the child, but I'm sure we as children, comments that we make sometimes make parents feel that they are not doing a good job or they are not worthy. And sometimes, a common thing to us is, I didn't ask to come here, is you bring me here.
Yeah.
And those
Yeah.
those are little things. So I
Yeah.
would like to encourage us as children to, be a little more cognizant with the way we speak and interact and treat with our parents. And Kurleen, thank you so, so much. I know we went way beyond our time, but it was worth it. Your information was really, really, really good. And guys, y'all will have seen Kwesi Chaludan putting on her information, her
I feel
number,
like we could put it back
yes,
as big as possible
as big as possible. Mateela
yeah,
says.
because I feel like go ahead.
So contact her. She also has a free page that has some good content as well. What's the name of is it Caribbean? What's it,
The
Mateela?
Caribbean, the Caribbean Enhancement Center.
The Caribbean Enhancement
Yeah.
Center. So guys, hit up Kurleen. She's really good as you can see. And contact her. And Kurleen, thanks so
You're most
much.
welcome. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Me
Say
too.
one
So
last
thank you
thing?
so much for being here.
You're welcome. Can I just say one last thing?
Sure.
Forgiveness.
Sure.
Forgiveness.
Yeah,
Your parent didn't treat you, right? They didn't raise you right. Forgive.
yeah.
Forgive them. Right? Just forgive. But they
Mhm.
did. So there they would have done the best.
Yeah.
what
That's
it
it.
is that they would have had at the particular point in time. And as Mateela said, the Lord don't force salvation down our throat. The Lord gives us choice.
Yeah.
And the Lord gives us choice until, He realized, all right, and I need to call my son or daughter home. And the Lord forgives us as well.
Yes.
The Lord forgives us and places our sins in the sea of forgetfulness.
Yeah.
To forgive. And I thank you, Mateela and Candace-Joy, for this opportunity to just share with you all this afternoon, to be here with you all. Thank you so very much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
you're welcome and thank you.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Okay, so everyone, thank you. I mean, I know it was a little bit longer, probably like a 20, 25, 30 minutes longer than usual, but for me, it was definitely well spent, a well spent time. There's a lot to take away and digest. So let us know how it went for you. Let's drop your comments, drop your questions, and remember, if there's any further discussion that you need to have, to contact Kurleen. We will put her contact information in the episode roundup tomorrow, please God. So we'll make sure that you guys have it. And yeah, so thanks for being here. Thanks for coming on. And again, apologies for the late start. And we probably made some of you all miss like 23 minutes of the news. We apologize. Have a good evening, and we will see you all next week, Sunday. And normally we skip a Sunday, but because of some scheduling issues, we'll be on again next week, Sunday. So we'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Have a great week and a blessed week. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.